Gooners. Right, welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking all things Arsenal and the latest stories that are coming out in the media. Let's get into it. The first bit of news surrounds Thomas Partey, and the news is suggesting that this is the end of his career at the Emirates, that he's set to depart on a free transfer with his contract expiring this summer. And this, on first glance, is a bit of a weird one because he's coming off the back of a barnstorming season for Arsenal. Look at how he dominated in the Champions League, taking Arsenal to the semi-finals, part of that middle three, the muscle that allows Declan Rice to go forward and have that advanced position, and Martin Odegaard to do his thing, the security in front of the back four. On the other hand, they've just secured the signing of Martin Zubimendi. So you're left thinking, well, Zubimendi's got to start, right? He comes in for 60 odd million euros. He's wanted by several top clubs across Europe. So where was he going to play? There was always going to be some form of collateral damage, and it looks like Thomas Partey is that collateral damage. Aside from that, I think Arsenal fans are best to remember that Thomas Partey is a player that, although at the top of his game is almost unplayable, he did suffer a lot of injuries. He was in and out of the side, wasn't always fancied by Arteta. So I do believe that in this scenario, maybe you are a little bit light in that position, but strengthening with Zubimendi is definitely the way forward. And it gives you a guy who's got a much better record of keeping himself fit, and we all know what he can give to a side. He gives you that ability to play the ball forward, and that seems to be the way that modern football is going. Okay, the next one. This is quite interesting. Kepa. I say interesting. For some Arsenal fans who came on TalkSport recently, this was the signing of the summer ahead of Florian Wirtz and the like. But, okay, Kepa, quite a modest fee, 5 million. He walks through the door. He will sit on the bench. Obviously, this is a bit of a strange one from his perspective because he had a great season for Bournemouth, and surely that ignites a bit of a fire to play football consistently. And by going to the Emirates, he'll get anything but, because we all know that David Raya is there to stay. He will start the majority of the games. But I just criticise the lack of ambition, I suppose. I think that there are definitely Premier League teams that he could be starting for, the likes of Bournemouth, as we saw this season. And then it comes on to the rest of Arsenal's transfer business, because the suggestions are that they are going to be incredibly busy. And we all want to know, who's the centre forward going to be, this mythical nine that they've been chasing for so long? And the two names being linked are Benjamin Sesko and Victor Gyökeres. And of the two, when I think about Benjamin Sesko, I know that this guy has been touted as a prospect, but he has been for a couple of seasons now. And I don't think he sets the world alight. And even when you look at his performances in the Champions League, because I watch that a lot more than I watch the Bundesliga by my own admission, he doesn't set the world alight. He's not the clinical finisher that we expected him to be. Yes, he shows promise, and we remember his age when we're talking about him and the potential upside to his game, but he's not the finished article by any stretch of the imagination. So would Arsenal be buying a player based on potential as opposed to someone who can come in and hit 25 league goals in a season? That's what they should be shooting for. On the other hand, Victor Gyökeres, we've talked about him being linked to the likes of Man United and the like, and this is a guy who was on fire this season. He very nearly won the Golden Boot, and few can argue that he's got an eye for goal. He bullies defences, and he's done it against top opposition. I know that City weren't at their best this season, but his performance against City in the Champions League was absolutely monstrous. This is a guy who can play, and I do believe that of the two, this is the guy that I would be chasing. On the other hand, they seem quite convinced, Arsenal that is, to go in for a left winger, and the likes of Rodrigo have been mentioned, Nico Williams. There are a couple of others, but essentially they're looking for the upgrade on Martinelli, and I do think that it is about time, especially as you've got a world-class footballer on the other side in Bukayo Saka, and I do believe that he is world-class. He's shown it time and time again that he can mix it with the very best opposition, and he does it consistently. So you want someone on the other side of the pitch that strikes fear into the opposition. Personally, if I were Arsenal, I would be going for Nico Williams. I think that this guy's class. But the wild card option of Rodrigo is always there in the background. The key thing is going to be, number one, the wages, and number two, how much is it going to cost? Because Arsenal's highest earner at this point in time, I believe, is Kai Havertz, and I think he's just shy of 20 million a season. And by all accounts, Rodrigo is demanding that fee or thereabouts. So are Arsenal willing to be flexible with their wage structure? Would Rodrigo sacrifice a little bit on his demands to get this one over the line? Potentially. Depends on the situation at Real Madrid. On the other hand, how high are Arsenal willing to go to sign this player? Because by all accounts, Madrid are demanding 100 million. Now, I believe that if a deal is there to get done, I think that it would be somewhere in the region of 70 to 80 million with the standard add-ons, that take it close to 100 or thereabouts. Would he be worth it for Arsenal? This is the thing, because to a lot of people, Rodrigo is an unknown entity. This is the guy that prefers to play on the left-hand side, and he just hasn't had those opportunities at Real Madrid, owing to Vinicius and most recently Mbappe. He's not going to get them either. So he's a bit of a luxury for Real Madrid. And if you've got a luxury asset who's worth close to 100 million euros, you've sometimes got to take the money. So would he set the world alight? It's possible. It really is. He does have an incredible amount of technical ability, and I've got no doubt that his skills would transcend the Premier League. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And if you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Take care.